So you have got some copper lines that are going to stay exposed, maybe on a radiator, a boiler room, or a basement ceiling. And you want those solder joints to look absolutely flawless. Not just leak-free, but clean enough that someone would swear a machine made them. That is exactly what I am going to show you today. I am walking you through the complete technique for getting perfect drip-free solder joints on both horizontal and vertical pipes. And if you stick around to the end, I've got a bonus tip for you that will help you salvage a joint you have already overheated without having to start over from scratch. Let us get into it. This is one of those techniques that separates good plumbing work from work that genuinely looks like art. And the best part is it is not complicated once you understand the principles behind it. But I do want to be upfront with you. This is not a beginner soldering lesson. If you are still getting comfortable with basic solder joints, go learn the fundamentals first and then come back to this. Because with this method, you are working with less flux and less solder than usual. And if your fundamentals are not solid, that is a recipe for leaks. This technique is for the person who already knows their joints hold and now wants them to look incredible too. Before we touch a single tool, I need you to understand 3 things that control whether this works or not. Think of these as the 3 pillars of a clean joint. Get any one of them wrong and the whole thing falls apart. Number 1 is flux. Flux cleans the copper and tells the solder where to go. It is basically a road map. Wherever flux is, solder will follow. So if you slop flux all over the outside of the pipe, guess where your solder is going to end up? All over the outside of the pipe. For this technique, we need the flux contained inside the joint and nowhere else. Number 2 is the amount of solder you feed into the joint. A copper fitting can only absorb so much. Every bit of excess has to go somewhere, and it is either going to blob up on the outside of your joint or pool up inside the pipe and create a restriction. Neither one is what we want. We are giving the joint exactly what it needs and nothing more. Number 3, and this is the big one, is heat. With any solder joint, you do not want to overheat it because the flux will burn off and the solder will not flow properly. But with this clean technique, heat control is everything. Where you point the flame, how long you hold it there, and when you pull it away, all of that determines whether you end up with a factory-quality joint or a mess you have to redo. I will walk you through exactly how to handle the torch when we get to that step. All right, let us start with prep work, because preparation is honestly 90% of the job. You need every surface that solder is going to touch to be absolutely clean. I am talking shiny, bright copper, with no oxidation, no fingerprints, nothing. For the outside of the pipe, I use a Scotch-Brite pad. I find it gives a more consistent shine than emery cloth, and it is easier to work with in tight spaces. You want to work the pad around the entire circumference of the pipe, covering at least an inch past where the fitting will sit. Do not rush this. Take your time and make sure you see that bright copper color all the way around. For the inside of the fittings, use a wire brush sized to your fitting. Give it several good twists inside there until the interior surface is uniformly shiny. If you do not have a wire brush handy, you can fold up a piece of Scotch-Brite and work it around the inside. But the brush is faster and more thorough. I keep a set of brushes for 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch fittings in my bag at all times. Here is a detail a lot of people skip. After you clean everything, do not touch the cleaned surfaces with your bare hands. The oils from your skin can interfere with the solder bond. Handle the pipe by the uncleaned sections and handle fittings by their outside edges. Now let us talk about flux, and this is where the clean technique really starts to separate itself from regular soldering. If you are just getting into this method, I strongly recommend using tinning flux instead of regular flux. Tinning flux has tiny particles of solder powder already mixed into it. So when it melts, it gives you a thin pre-coat of solder coverage inside the joint before you even touch your solder wire to it. Think of it as cheap insurance. It improves your coverage and gives you a head start. The amount you apply is critical. We are talking a thin, even coat on the inside of the fitting and on the pipe end. Not a glob, not a heavy smear. Thin and even. If you are using regular flux instead of tinning flux, you can use slightly more, but you have to be even more careful about keeping it contained because regular flux is thinner and likes to run. With tinning flux, it tends to stay where you put it, which is a big advantage for this technique. Here is the key thing to understand. Any flux that ends up on the visible face of the pipe outside the joint is going to attract solder to that spot. That is how you end up with drips and runs and ugly joints. So be precise with your application. A small flux brush gives you way more control than those big ones that come in some kits. By the way, if you are finding this helpful, you should know this is just a taste of what I have put into my book, 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes That Will Save You $10,000. It covers everything from leaky faucets to running toilets, step by step with diagrams. You can grab your copy by scanning the QR code on screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let us keep going. Once your flux is applied, slide the fitting onto the pipe and give it a slight twist to spread the flux evenly inside the joint. Now here is the step that makes or breaks this whole technique. Look at where the fitting meets the pipe. You are going to see a small lip or ring of flux that squeezed out when you assembled everything. Every bit of that excess needs to come off. Grab a clean rag or a fresh paper towel, and I mean clean, not the one you have been wiping your hands on all day, and wipe that joint until there is zero visible flux on the outside. You want the flux completely contained inside where the pipe and fitting overlap. If your rag is dirty or oily, you risk contaminating the joint, so do not cut corners here. Run your finger around the joint after wiping. It should feel dry and clean to the touch. If you see any shiny residue from the flux, wipe it again. This single step is the difference between a joint that looks factory-made and one that has solder drips running down the pipe. Now we get to heating, and I need you to pay close attention here because this is not how you heat a regular solder joint. For this technique, I prefer a broad flame, tip over a pencil torch. The broader flame heats the fitting more evenly and gets you to temperature faster, which actually reduces your risk of overheating any one spot. Here is the method. You are going to start heating from the front of the joint, the side that faces you, and work your way around toward the back. But you are not going to heat the back directly. Instead, you let the heat from the front travel through the copper to warm up the back side on its own. Why does this matter? Because you are going to apply your solder to the back of the joint, and you want the back to be the last area to reach full temperature. That way, when the solder melts at the back, it gets pulled by capillary action toward the hotter front side, filling the entire joint from back to front. Keep your flame moving. Do not park it in one spot. Slow, steady passes around the front and sides of the fitting. You are looking for the flux inside to start activating. You will know it is getting close when you see a faint wisp of smoke from the joint. That is your cue to get your solder ready. And whatever you do, do not overheat. If the flux carbonizes, which means it turns black and crusty, you have gone too far. The solder will not flow into a joint with burnt flux, and you will have to disassemble everything, clean it all again, reflux, and start over. So keep that flame moving and stay patient. This is the part that makes this technique different from everything else you have seen. Instead of applying solder to the front of the joint where everyone can see it, you are going to feed your solder into the back of the joint, the side nobody looks at. Touch your solder wire to the back edge of the fitting where it meets the pipe. If the joint is at the right temperature, the solder will melt on contact and get sucked into the joint by capillary action. You will actually see it disappear into the seam. Feed it slowly and steadily. For a 3/4 inch fitting, you are looking at roughly 3/4 of an inch of solder wire. For a 1/2 inch fitting, about a 1/2 inch of wire. That is it. Do not keep feeding just because you think it needs more. As the solder flows in from the back, capillary action pulls it all the way around to the front. You will see a thin, even silver ring appear at the front edge of the joint. The moment you see that silver ridge form completely around the circumference, stop. Remove the heat. Stop feeding solder. The joint is done. That silver ring is your visual confirmation of a fully filled joint, and it is going to look absolutely clean because you never touch solder to the visible side. When you are working on a vertical joint, the same principles apply, but gravity becomes a factor. Your flux may want to drip down the pipe slightly, which is normal. The important thing is that since we are only giving the joint the exact amount of solder it needs, there should not be any excess to run down the pipe. On vertical joints, apply your solder to the back of the fitting just like on horizontal, but be ready to work a little quicker. Heat rises, so the top of a vertical joint will reach temperature faster than the bottom. Start your heat at the bottom of the fitting and let it work upward. Feed your solder at the back and watch for that silver ring to appear evenly around the joint. Once your joint is complete, grab a small inspection mirror and check the back side. You want to confirm that you see an even ring of solder all the way around with no voids or gaps. If you spot a section that looks dry, you can carefully reheat just that area and touch a tiny amount of solder to it. But if your flux, heat, and solder amount were right, you should see full coverage. After everything cools down for a couple minutes, take the Scotch-Brite pad you used during prep and give the entire joint and surrounding pipe a light scrub. This removes any discoloration from the heat and gives the copper that bright, uniform finish. The result is a joint that looks like it came out of a factory. No drips, no blobs, no solder trails. Let us go over some issues you might run into and how to deal with them. First, if you see solder dripping down the pipe after you finish, that means either you used too much flux on the outside, you did not wipe the joint clean enough before heating, or you fed too much solder. Next time, be more aggressive with your wiping step and back off on the amount of solder you feed in. Second, if the solder will not flow into the joint at all, your joint is not hot enough or your flux has burned off. If the flux looks black and crusty inside the seam, you have overheated it. You will need to let it cool, take it apart, clean everything back to bare copper, reflux, and try again. Third, if you are getting an uneven ring at the front, meaning solder shows up on one side, but not the other, your heat distribution is off. Make sure you are moving the flame evenly around the fitting and not favoring one side. Fourth, if the solder beads up on the surface instead of flowing into the joint, your copper was not cleaned well enough. Solder will not bond to oxidized or dirty copper. There are no shortcuts on the cleaning step. Fifth, on vertical joints, if solder runs down and collects at the bottom of the fitting, you are using too much. Remember, 3/4 inch of solder wire for a 3/4 inch fitting. Trust capillary action to do the work and resist the urge to keep feeding. All right, here is that bonus tip I promised you. If you have overheated a joint and the flux has started to burn off but has not fully carbonized yet, you can sometimes save it without tearing everything apart. What I do is pull the torch away immediately and let the joint cool for about 30 seconds. Then I take a small artist's brush, dip it in fresh flux, and work it into the seam from the outside. The fresh flux can sometimes reactivate the joint enough to accept solder. It does not work every time, but when it does, it saves you from having to disassemble, clean, and start the whole process over. I have probably saved myself an hour of rework over the years using this trick. Just remember, if the flux is fully black and crusty, this will not help. You are past the point of no return, and you need to start fresh. But for those moments where you catch it early, this little rescue move is a lifesaver. All right, that is the full breakdown. Remember, every single plumbing fix I wish homeowners knew about is in my book, 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes. Scan the QR code on screen right now or grab it from the first link in the description. I appreciate you watching, and if you want more of these practical fixes, make sure to subscribe. I will see you in the next one.